In this lab, you'll learn how to streamline a workflow with a model. Using the QGIS desktop graphical modeler, you'll string together tools using the output of one operation as the input to the next. You can then later edit the model parameters and share it with others. The scenario in this case is that a company is looking to lease a helipad at an airport for their company helicopter. This company is situated in Nueces County, Texas, and wants the helipad to be within 3 miles of Corpus Christi, but not within the city limits. The pilots request that the airport or heliport be within a half mile of any source of water. It must also be within a mile from a county road. As you have some knowledge of GIS, you're being asked to find the best solution. So here I have QGIS Desktop open, and I've added the 5 lab shapefiles. So the first step is just to arrange them in order, points on top of lines, lines on top of polygons. So I'll go ahead and drag roads above the city boundaries, and drag water features above city boundaries as well. So now the data are at least logically organized. So when building a site selection model, you're usually presented with a scenario, which we've just heard, and the scenario has parameters which you'll have to address to find the solution. The best method to solve a scenario like this one is to extract the parameters from the description, write them down into a verbal description, and then you can start to transcribe those into GIS operations like buffer and clip, etc. So let's go through and think about the parameters of this model. The first one is the spatial extent. The heliport must be located within Nueces County. So I see I have a nationwide counties layer here. So the first step is to look at that and see what we have to work with. I'll open up the attribute table, and I can see that we have a column with county name and one with state name. So it looks like we have the necessary information. We can do a select by attributes and select out the correct county from the nationwide counties layer, convert that to a new shapefile. The next parameter is that the final solution is going to be an airport. So we have an airports layer here, and the airports cover all of Texas. Since we know that we're only going to be looking in one final county, another step we could take initially is to clip those airports to the county boundary that we're working in. The next parameter is that the heliport must be within 3 miles of Corpus Christi, but not inside the limits. So we have a city boundaries layer. I'll open up the attribute table for that. And we can see that we have names here. So another step would be to select out by attributes Corpus Christi by name, convert that to its own shapefile. Once we have that as its own shapefile, then to identify areas within 3 miles of Corpus Christi, we'd use a buffer operation. Buffer Corpus Christi city limits by 3 miles. But then there's also the caveat that it must not be within the city limits. So what we'll do there is use a tool called difference and essentially erase the Corpus Christi city limits from the 3 mile buffer around Corpus Christi, leaving the 3 mile ring around the city boundaries that we can use to select the airport within. And while I'm talking about this, I'll go ahead and zoom into the area that we're going to be working in. This is the county boundary. So we have data layers of various extents. The water features and the roads are just within the county boundaries. The next parameter is that the site must be within a half mile of water. Well, we have our water features, so those will just need to be buffered by a half a mile. And then the final parameter is that the site must be within a mile of a county road. So these are all roads. I'm going to open up the attribute table and see what we have to work with here. I'm going to sort route type. A lot of the records are null. But then there are those that have a value of C. These are going to be the county roads. So we'll select by attributes the roads where route type is C, convert that to its own layer consisting of just county roads, and then we'll buffer those county roads by 1 mile. So those are the parameters that we have, and those are the basic operations that we'll have to work with. And this is the important first step in building a model, is thinking about the operations, thinking about the target goal, and working your way backwards to figure out where to start. In the next task, I'll begin to build my model.